This was a long time ago, but I remember it clearly. We moved into a community with tight space in between our house and our neighbors, and we didn't like them being able to see into our kitchen. We put up a bunch of plants, costing thousands, but my parents thought it would be worth it. A week later my parents awoke to the plants completely chopped down. My father was furious, and marched down to our neighbor's house. He told my father the plants were on his property line, therefore he had total right to take them down. He warned that if anything were to go on his property again, he would report us to the authorities immediately. Later that day my father called the company that put in the plants, and with the warranty we could have them replanted next week for no charge. We made sure there was no way it was on our neighbor's property. However, a few days later we caught him chopping them down at 2 a.m. We called the police upon obstruction of property, and after a chat with my neighbor he decided to call a professional and mark his property line. My father agreed. A few days later I got home to find orange tape in my neighbor's yard. Apparently, his fence was 11 feet over our property line. We watched as he took down his fence, completely furious. Within the next month we were enjoying our new space and privacy in our backyard, and my neighbor ended up losing 1/4 of his backyard. My neighbor ended up having to pay almost $10,000 for the destruction of our property, and we got to plant our plants again. I work at a grocery store. My boyfriend and me both buy our groceries there, and sometimes he'll see me and maybe wave or say hi. We don't chat or waste any time unless I also happen to be going on break. My department manager didn't know I was gay when he hired me, and he figured it out when he asked me who the guy that was waving to me was. He made a weird face, not necessarily disgusted, but you get the point. Anyway, anytime my boyfriend would enter the store after that, he would keep his eye on him. Now if he were to wave to me, my manager would start to berate me and try and make it out like I'm slacking, when I'm just stocking shelves and smiling in his direction, nothing bad at all. He didn't care at all prior to learning he's my boyfriend. After a week he has a private talk with me saying my boyfriend is causing too much of a distraction and he should shop here while I'm on shift, and that if something didn't change I might be let go. I was mad. I told my boyfriend about it, he was even more mad. I didn't really want to make a big deal out of it though, this is a temp job. I probably won't even have it longer than a year or two. So I decided to prank my manager instead of getting into legal or corporate stuff. We have other gay friends that shop there, crazy enough we look just like regular people so no one would realize, including my manager. Sure, my boyfriend won't shop there, but what about other gay people? That shouldn't matter, he just doesn't want my partner distracting me at work. So, I mentioned what happened to my 5 friends who mentioned it to their friends, and so on. My next shift I bore witness to 30 extremely flamboyant and openly gay men and women flaunting their sexuality in the store. My manager was trying to hide in the back, but every customer needed manager's assistance for the most mundane questions, lol. He ended up going home early, but after that shock he actually stopped berating me for the past couple of months. He might just be happy that I'm not very open about my sexuality so he can choose to ignore it. I work in a hot sauce store in a busy outlet mall. We're a well-liked locally owned business and have many loyal return customers, but at this particular location we also get a lot of tourists who are curious about our challenge items, or Hot Ones products. We have a large variety of samples available every day. Literally like 100 hot sauces, 50 plus barbecue or wing sauces, just out on the table, and we can pull another 50 or more bottles from the fridge if one's open. Every so often we get people who come into the store and ask to try the hottest sauce. They love jalapenos in their burritos and have eaten habaneros straight, and they're ready to enter the ring, swallow some sauce and gain the admiration of a couple friends and bystanders at the cost of a stomach ache. We usually try to guide them to the 10th hottest sauce in the store, burn them with it, and move on to something mild or medium suited to their taste. Today while I was selling items to people who were actually paying for things, a 10 or so year old boy enters the store. I always get wary when children enter the store alone because it is full of glass bottles. They usually dart straight for the shelves and pick something up, but this child came barreling towards me like a bullet. While I make change for the couple buying some sauce, he calls out to me, "Excuse me," in a horrendous whiny pitch. I ignore the rude interruption and continue my conversation with my customers. He parrots it again 12 times or so back to back as I thank these people and get them out of the store. Finally, I turn to him. How can I help you? Where are this kid's parents? Hi, can I try the hottest sauce in the store? Not this again. I am not dealing with this. Not with a 10-year-old kid. I explain to him that the hottest sauce on the table is Hellboy, right hand of doom. It's spiked with a 6.66 million Scoville extract, and honestly, if you're not experienced with this kind of stuff more than just a tiny bit, can really mess up a good part of your day. Take my word for it. I explained to him he has to be 19 years old to try it and sign a waiver, which is BS, but I'm off in 30 minutes, so screw this kid, and instead guide him to a tasty fermented habanero that he coughs his eyes out on before explaining to me that he could handle the right hand of doom because his dad eats spicy peppers with him all the time. Okay. I say. He leaves. 15 minutes later I'm interrupted by another customer. This time a gigantic woman, in a blue blouse. She's set next to my sample table like a giant blueberry blocking up 20% of my floor space. Excuse me, apple doesn't fall far. The customers I'm with are polite and excuse me to speak to her. You didn't let my son try the sauce. I explained to her that it has extract in it several hundreds times hotter than anything he has ever eaten and that it can cause him severe discomfort and that I will not let him try it in my store. I explain that she is free to purchase the sauce and have him try it at home if she so wishes. She explains to me that she married a Mexican man and that I wouldn't believe the things we ate in New Mexico City, where he grew up. When I asked what they had eaten there, she told me things hotter than anything we have in the store. At this point her daughter interrupts our conversation. Excuse me, what? I'm getting annoyed. I was annoyed from the second I saw the kid and now he's back 20 minutes later with 3 of him. Why do you sell Valentina? It's not even a hot sauce, aren't you from Mexico? It says freaking salsa picante on the damn bottle. It's $5.50, I'm off at $6. I've had enough. How about this, you can try the sauce and if it's as mild as you think, I'll let him try it. She agreed and grabbed her sample stick. I reached for the right hand of doom, and unscrewed the cap. Its nuclear aroma sending memories of aches to my stomach. As she goes to dip the stick into the sauce, I warn her to only take a small amount. She grins at me and dips the stick all the way into the sauce. Trap card. She slaps it into her mouth. Immediately she looks uneasy before she throws herself into pure agony. She is coughing, swinging her head back and forth, trying desperately to speak, but she cannot muster any words. She dropped her sample stick in all the chaos. After a solid few minutes of coughing and dry heaving, she manages a single word, water. I explain to her that water won't help her now. My relief walks through the door just in time to witness the finish. She tells me that the only reason she is coughing is because it went down the wrong pipe. She then immediately vomits into our garbage can. She apologizes for spitting up like she didn't just rocket launch half a liter of chum into my trash can and then leaves without saying anything else. I tossed out the trash with a smile on my face and clocked out. This happened about 3 years ago. While going through an airport in the US, I walked through the metal detector. Something must have beeped and they needed to pat me down. After a thorough pat down, I put my shoes on and started to walk over to grab my bag. A TSA agent stops me and says, "You've been randomly selected, please step into the body scanner." I was polite, but said that I really didn't want to get into the body scanner, and asked if there was another way. The agent said that I could get a pat down. I said, well, I just got a pat down, so. They angrily told me to pick an option. So, I took 2 steps backwards, to the woman who had patted me down 30 seconds ago and spread em, again. While she was patting me down I asked her if she found anything new. She stared daggers at me but let me go. This happened a few years ago. I was working at a large national chain restaurant as a manager. I was asked to temporarily reassign to a location in a city about an hour away, and accepted. They put me up in a hotel, the whole 9 yards. The first weekend I was there, I discovered that the GM had screwed up and not ordered any change, small bills, rolls of coins, for the safe, and that the local branch of our bank would be closing in the next hour. I also happened to have a personal account at the same bank, and had, in the past, gone and gotten change from the branch back home. Since time was tight, I quickly looked up the address of the bank, grabbed $800, and jumped in my car. I get to the bank, wait in line, and then ask them to make change, $400 in $5 bills, $300 in $1 bills, and $100 in assorted rolled coins. The teller tells me that the bank doesn't make change. Me, thinking it was because they didn't know me, informed her that our restaurant had an account she could look up. She then told me, "No, we don't make change at all." The thought going through my brain was, WTF? You are a bank. I tried explaining the situation, but was quickly shot down. I left, went back to my car, then had an idea. I went back inside the bank with my personal checkbook. Got to the front of the line, and, luckily, the same teller. Before she could even greet me, I held out my checkbook and told her, I would like to close this account, since this bank is no longer customer service oriented. She kind of rolled her eyes, but went about my request. Then she asked how I wanted my cash back, an automatic response, I'm sure, and one I was counting on. I said, $400 in $5 bills, $300 in $1 bills, $70 in rolled quarters, $25 in rolled dimes, $4 in rolled nickels, and $1 in rolled pennies. The rest can be on a cashier's check. No reason for her to deny it, so I got my change. And the following Monday, I returned, closed out the other 2 accounts I had there, and I opened accounts at a different bank where I have been banking ever since.